Today I wanted to make a video talking about darkness. Darkness is a concept that I've been working on for some time. I have a whole blog, the Higher Dark blog, and I wanted to reach out and kind of think about darkness and tie it into access consciousness a little bit too, but kind of focus on the concept of dark joy, because it seems like, at least in the stereotypical pop culture and movies and TV, like people who are dark people, they can't be joyful. They can't be. They have to be melancholy and cold or angry or threatening or just morose, or at least they're very calm and kind of deadpan or something like that. And I mean, for one thing, I know goth people who aren't like that. Obviously, there are exceptions to every rule, but I feel like there's some people out there who either like mainstream people who have a judgment of goth people, or people who are feeling those kind of feelings and they decide to be goth because it's kind of owning your melancholiness or some crap like that. And it's like, no, that's not what that is. Darkness is something that goes so far beyond those lower vibrations. And so I wanted to talk about how you can be joyful and still be dark and still be your higher dark self. And because that's important to me, to show that, like, say if you want to go into magic or law of attraction or that kind of thing, you don't have to cut out these parts of yourself, like cutting off your arm, or you don't have to reject parts of yourself because you perceive them as being dark. So, because darkness is not evil, darkness is not a wrongness, it's actually power, self-empowerment, and a personal, it's a whole different side of you, and it's important not to hide or cut off any part of yourself. So I want to talk about some different things, mainly, so when I'm talking about joy, what am I talking about? A lot of times, joy is thought of as something that's light and bubbly and, like, really light and fluffy, and it doesn't have to be, though. Like, really and truly, darkness has a different flavor. It's a different side of the same coin. And I have notes here, so you'll see me referring to them. So trying to separate lightness, a light side and a dark side, that's a judgment. You're trying to split these two things that are actually completely intertwined. And so people who are dark type people, they just find things that are joyful in different places. And by joy, and again, I mean, like, joy is knowledge. Joy is personal empowerment, your power, your potency, your capacities to change the world. Joy is freedom, which is freedom of choice. Joy can be love. Love can be oneness and consciousness. Joy can be, and it can be passion. Love can be appreciation and gratitude. And like I said, passion, enthusiasm about something. Just being excited and going out and enjoying life. Joy can even be being optimistic, which a lot of people, even people who are darkly joyful, often have trouble being optimistic. They tend to be pessimistic about things, and I'll get into that later. But just having positive expectations and beliefs that things can go your way and things are going to turn out good. How does it get any better than this? So yeah, all of that is possible, even through joy, and definitely through what I call the higher dark. So you don't have to go into these lower vibrations of being angry, blaming people, shaming, anything like that. It doesn't have to be about that. And so I just want to talk, before I get into, like, more how you can work with this, how you can find this, why you might not be feeling your joy in your darker times. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what are the kind of things that can make you joyful, but that are still can be dark. Now, granted, you can be joyful about the things that everyone else is, like playing with your dog or going out for a walk. The difference is you might go out for a walk at midnight under the starlight and the moonlight. Like, maybe going out during the day isn't your thing, but you go out and you look around at the stars and the trees waving in the night wind, or rather than butterflies, you like moths and spiders and stuff like that. And there are any kinds of things that are not people don't like in the mainstream, things that people are like, oh, it's scary or yucky. For people who are dark, they don't see it that way. They can see a snake and think how beautiful it is. Even if it's a poisonous snake out in the wild, they're like, I'm not going to get in your way, friend. But yeah, a lot of people have pet snakes. I have a pet snake. She's wonderful. She's fucking gorgeous. I know a lot of people who have pet rats. And they're brilliant. They're so adorable. You know, there's... Really and truly, you look at animals, and they don't have this judgment of this is light and dark, this is good and evil, this is bad and good. They just are. And that's something that I think humans could learn from, is taking away this black and white point of view that we put on almost everything, and making everything this kind of spectrum that's all together in one piece. And two, things that are rejected and feared by the mainstream, like death, ghosts, decay. These are the kinds of things that darker people find fascinating. They study this kind of stuff. And a lot of darker people are very intelligent. They will study just about anything. And that gives us a joy too, is that exploration of the world and knowledge, because even just learning something, it produces endorphins in your brain. And that too, joy is not just about the chemical reactions in your brain, it's also an energy. And it's connecting with the universe. And I feel like dark people, in a lot of cases, they tend to shy away from those outside influences, from people in the mainstream, because they don't see it the way that those people do. In a lot of ways, the mainstream people can be very limited, and dark people, they don't want to be limited like that. But see, my question is, are you limiting yourself because you're trying not to be like these people over here, and you're trying to be like these smaller group of people that you decided are right and good by your own internal standards? Like, you need to keep to those standards, and you need to ask questions too, and go outside of that. Give yourself different possibilities, and don't lock yourself into anything. Because you could be locking yourself out of something that does give you joy. More things, just comparing how dark joy is a little bit different from light joy. Like, light joy is very bubbly and giddy and giggly and that sort of thing. Dark joy it's deeper. It's more deeply rooted in your body, and it's just more delicious sort of feeling. I had some notes, and I was comparing it to like a wash of water from a winter snowfall, just cleaning out a river as it's flowing through you. And this is, again, more energetic, not necessarily emotional even. Joy can be an emotion. It can also be, like I said, just a pure energy that just washes through you with such intensity, and it makes you feel so alive. And rather than thinking about joy as being running around outside in the sun, what if it's going to a club and dancing to really awesome music? And it's the kind of dancing that's just like, you have to keep moving. Like, you can't stand still. The music just moves through you, and you're in touch with all the people around you, and moving together with them in this tribal dance, expressing life and livelihood and being, and just moving because you can't not move to that much energy. And it's just bursting out of you. And that, granted, you can do that in a light setting. I have been places like that, where I've been outside in a sunny meadow or something, and been spinning around and dancing, and felt that kind of intensity with light. But I feel like the darkness invites that even more often. There's no judgment of you have to be blocked into this little box. There's a lot of freedom in the dark that you don't necessarily have in the light, because there's so many people watching you, expecting you to be a certain way when you're in the light. But in the dark, granted, there's still people judging you, but you really kind of don't give a shit. Other things, joy is, in either light or dark, is wild and it is free. You cannot contain joy. If I had time, I would tell a story about a folktale that I heard about a golden bird back when I was in elementary school. But I don't have time to tell you that. Maybe that's for another video. Look it up if you can find the fable of the golden bird. I don't know if that's even out there anywhere. But I was thinking in terms of being wildness and freeness. Dark joy is more the kind of wildness that is like running at night and howling at the moon, and you gather your pack around you and you all go hunting. And hunting not just for prey or something like that, but for you're seeking something, you're seeking to create more joy. You're seeking revelry. You're seeking more, expressing your freedom, using your freedom, making your choice to go out and create something and feel that enjoyment. Go out and find experiences and things that nobody has tried before. That kind of hunting, like hunting for that kind of invigorating excitement. And that's definitely beyond the norm, or beyond what is safe, and beyond what is acceptable to everyday society. And darkness has a lot of those elements in it. I still think if we had a society that had no rules and stuff like that we would still find darkness that has a more pure energy somewhere around. But in our very restricted, boxed-in society, darkness becomes very much that breaking out of the norm, finding something that goes beyond that. Possibly taking risk, but mostly just questioning what you've been told. And it's exciting to do that. And you can breathe. And that in and of itself is joyful. And you shouldn't have to limit yourself to, well, I'm only doing this to get a thrill. It's not necessarily a thrill. It's not necessarily some chemical zap in your brain. It's actually connecting with a deeper part of the universe. And if you will acknowledge that aspect and actually delve into that and bring your energy down into the earth and up into the night sky and connect with those stars. And you can do that. I know. Now I'm starting to get woo-woo and like, oh yeah, okay, now she's going down the crazy path. I want you to consider that. Why not? What the fuck? So you might sound a little crazy. Gee, because that has no, that because nobody ever wants you to be crazy, right? No, but you have to be careful, because you're already a little close to crazy because you live on the fringe of society. If you go over the edge into this woo-woo stuff, then everybody's going to reject you. Fuck them. Do it. Connect with the magic of the earth and do it. And that's what's joyful to me, is that knowing that there's so much more to the universe than what the everyday TV watching crowds and masses will have. And I'm like, bring it on. Dive into that. And dance in it and swim in it and just live it and feel it and let it flow through you. That's the kind of thing that I think dark joy can be. I had some other notes here. Let me see if there's anything else I want to add. Mostly wanted to touch on why it is that some people, darker people or people who come into darkness. Oh, and I forgot one of the things. I'll see if I can tie the two together. So, if you have a rough life, if you got things that are going on that just are shitty in life, if you have whether it's psychological problems or other people around you are causing problems for you, internal, external, whatever, you lost your job, your cat died, shit happens, and we all know this. And so you start to struggle to have joy. And if it happens a lot, for whatever reason, you may come to a point where you feel like you can't have joy. And I think there is this projection, an expectation in a lot of people, and that a lot of people pick up from other people when they start hanging out with them, that for every good thing that happens, every joyful feeling, every pleasurable experience you have, there's going to be a turnaround. There's going to be the flip side of the coin where you're having a horrible experience. You know, everything has a price. Even in fantasy fiction, it's like magic has a price, and I'm like, which is another video, but like, yeah, like say you go to a party, you're automatically expecting that you're gonna have a hangover the next day. Why do you do that? Oh, because you've experienced it so much. Well, what if you didn't expect that? What if you created your experience at the party in such a way that you didn't give yourself a hangover, and you still enjoyed it? Like, it's all projection and expectation. It's all, you have assumed that because something good happened, something bad is going to happen. I just know it, because that's always what happens. This is what happens to me. My life is fucked this way. This is my luck. Isn't it interesting that you believe stuff like that? For those of you who do. Some people don't. But I have heard people say that kind of thing. My life is always fucked up. It's my life. I can never get any better. You're creating that. I hate to break it to you, but you're creating that. But just by thinking that, just by saying that, you're bringing that into existence. What if you didn't say that anymore? What if you actively looked around and said, you know what? I don't have to do that. I'm going to go and have fun. And nothing fucked up is going to happen to me. God damn it. Because I said so. Now, granted, some of that that's coming at you is subconscious. It's stuff that you've created, that you can't just decide in your brain that it's going to work, which is where the whole axis thing comes in, and it's neuro-linguistic programming that actually clears out the subconscious stuff. I'm not going to go into that. If you want to know about that, by all means, look at my free Access Consciousness video that I have, and that gives you a lot of information. I will be making more videos about that kind of stuff to help you out, because I know some of the Access people sound really positive and happy and fluffy, and that gets kind of annoying after a while. So I can understand, and I'm going to work on that. I also have my blog that has a lot of information on it too. But anyway, so yeah, you can do that neuro-linguistic programming and clear some of that stuff out. But before you can even do that, you have to be willing to acknowledge where you've made this kind of negative shit real. You've made it solid and forced it to happen in your life over and over and over again. And you're creating that on some level. Granted, other people seem to be doing it to you, but you're still attracting them to you. Or you're not kicking them out of your life if they're the one who's actually the problem. You have to be willing to let go of that energy, that person, that belief, whatever it is, that's limiting you. If you're not willing to let it go, it's never going to go. It is entirely up to you to be willing to clear that. And if you're not willing, then it doesn't matter how many times you say yes and do the clearing statement and all of this stuff, or do any kind of magic or any kind of new wave thing. Even if you're trying to go out to parties and drink for fun or hang out with your friends or whatever, if you're not willing to let go and give up and release all of that negative creation that you've done in the past, then it's going to be stuck with you, and it's going to stick. You're not going to be able to get rid of it. So, and it's not a kind of willingness that's like, well, of course I don't want this. I want to get rid of it. I hate this stuff. It's like, oh, I acknowledge that I created this. I acknowledge that I don't have to create this anymore. I can just poof and destroy and uncreate it all. Uncreate is a big thing that they talk about. It's taking an energy you've made solid and breaking it apart, depolarizing it, whatever you want to call it, breaking it down back into its pure elements again and pure energy. So it's not defined and judged and all this stuff. and made so significant. How many people are people you know or yourself, people you've heard of, people in your family that you don't like hanging out with, who have made themselves into victims? Like, yes, victimization does happen, but defining yourself as a victim and creating your life as I am a victim, that creates more and more of the same thing. And you can destroy that. I'm getting off of my dark joy topic now, but just giving you some ideas that all of this stuff in your life that you feel like is fucking up your life and you can't do anything about, what if you could do something about it? What if it's entirely your choice and entirely about you being willing to acknowledge where you chose this on some level? Because if you're a victim, then people get to pity you and take care of you and pet you and be soft and gentle with you. If you're a victim, then you don't have to, or say if you have some kind of psychological problem, you don't have to hang out with all these people that you don't like. What if you just didn't hang out with them? What if you learn to take care of yourself and stop making other people take care of you? Or you just ask them to take care of you without having a reason. Like, you don't have to force them and manipulate them into taking care of you or caring for you. If they wouldn't care for you, if you weren't a victim, then why do you want them to care for you? They're clearly not caring people if they won't care for you anyway. If they won't care for a healthy person, why do you want them to care about you? So, that's your choice. You don't have to do anything I tell you to do. You just have to be willing to do what you're going to do, and it's entirely your choice. Just wanted to leave you with a thought, too, of a lot of the times these things that keep us away from our joy, we think they're these big, overarching, significant things. What if they weren't? What if they're actually a lot of little bitty things that you've lumped together? Some of them are true and real, and some of them aren't. Some of them are things that are external, and some of them are internal things that you've made up and decided on. What if you could get rid of them one at a time? What one thing could you let go of today that would bring more joy into your life? Anything that doesn't allow that, will you just destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And what space does that create for you to create something new in your life? That's probably longer than I meant to go, and I hope that I obviously rambled quite a bit, which is not unusual for me. I hope that you liked it. I hope that you got something out of it. I really appreciate you sticking with me. If you liked it, give me a like on the video. Or if you didn't like it, give me a comment. I welcome all commentary. I really would love to start a discussion. If you really like and you want more, I do have my whole blog, The Higher Dark, and I'll put a link to that in the description. I also have other videos, which I would love for you to watch and also like and subscribe. I also have a Patreon. If you don't know what Patreon is, it's basically a monthly payment service for artists and musicians and whatnot. If you don't like me, go on Patreon anyway and find somebody that you do like and give them $1 a month or something. Whatever you can manage. I also have my other blog, Indie Shamanka blog, and I am available for shamanic counseling if you're at all interested in that. I don't know how else to say that. So, that's it. Have a blessed day. Blessed be. And be in the darkness. Be who you truly be.